Hello and welcome to this pit stop for Captains of the Gulf, designed by Jason Dinger and published by Spielworxx. Captains of the Gulf is a 2 to 4 player, 2-hour game in which players take control of fishing boats in the Gulf of Mexico, looking to head out during the fishing season to catch shrimp and clams and crabs, and to sell them back at the 3 ports in order to make the most money. After 8 rounds, the most money is going to be the winner. Now your actions are selected on this rondel here. You can always move 2 spaces clockwise for free. If you wish to move further, you must pay 1 money for each further space you wish to move. And there are 6 actions you can select from on here. To start with, you can go out to somewhere and start fishing. Now when you want to move, you must have fuel on your boat and you pay 1 fuel for each hex you move. And we're going to head off here over to the shrimp grounds and we're going to start fishing there. So that's cost me 3 of my fuel. Now I immediately get to fish. You can only fish whichever catches you have licenses for. In this case, I've got 1 shrimp license, so I can try and fish for one of these. I must play a card from my hand. Everyone has a hand of 6 cards at the start of their turn, and they're multi-use, but in this case, we're just looking in the middle. There's 1 shrimp there, my 1 license, shrimp here, brilliant. Catch it, stick it in my hold, and put one of these depletion markers down to show that that's been fished out. Now on my next turn, I could carry on round, or I can stay here and fish. Now I could pay more fuel to move around the place. In this case, I just want to linger around this area, and that's going to cost me 1 fuel to stay where I am. I'll pay another 1 shrimp card out of my hand. You can only ever usually pay 1 card to fish on a turn, and I'll take that second one and fill up my hold, and there we go. That's all fished out. Dandy. Next action we could take would be to head back to port. Now, I can choose any of the 3 ports to head back to. I'm going to sell there, I'll move up on tracks for selling, and they have different likes for different catch. It happens that Tampa's close by and they like shrimp, so I'll start heading back. I've only got enough fuel, however, to pay for 2 moves. For any further moves that I have to make, then I have to call someone out to tow me, and that's going to cost me money. Now, as I said, the most money at the end of the game is going to be the winner, so you want to try and avoid that situation if you can. I'm going to skip this just for a sec. And the next action I'm going to take is to sell my catch. In this case, I have got 2 shrimp. They usually sell for 2 each. There's a little chart that tells you that. They happen to like it a lot in Tampa. So for this, I'm going to have made 6 money. And it also moves me up spots on the track for that particular port. In this case, for having sold 2 things, I move up 2 spaces. If you sell a variety of catches, you get bonuses for moving up. And you can move up quicker in other ways, which we will discover. The 5th action on here will be to fill up your fuel tank all the way for free. Notably also, there's a life buoy here, which is linked to this for 2, 3 or 4 players. In this 4-player game, we move across the life buoy, we move this marker clockwise around here, and this is the round marker. I said there's going to be 8 rounds. We keep tracking it with event cards we're going to look at. But once it gets all the way around, we'll change the round and we'll move on, and certain things will happen. And moving around the rondel is what's going to trigger the end of the game eventually. That was a very basic turn in which I went out, took my time, poodled, caught a couple of things, came back and sold them. That's going to make me some money, but it's probably not going to win me the game. And we come back here to this action. Now these 3 actions, they've got land in there. You must be in port to take them, obviously to sell, to refuel you have to. But this is where I'm going to upgrade my boat. Now in that scenario where I was fishing for 2 shrimp, or let's say I was over here, what I could do is have bought an extra shrimp license, and that only cost me 1 money. And when that's in play, I can catch 2 shrimp at once. Now in order to do that, I can still only play 1 card from my hand. If I'm lucky enough, I could play a double shrimp card and dibbity-dee would catch both of those, and that would start being more efficient in terms of time for us in our fishing. I could, however, back here in Tampa, crab are worth more than shrimp, and there's lots of them sitting there waiting to be caught. So maybe when I'm back in port, I could start investing in some crab licenses. Now crab are worth more than shrimp, but their licenses cost more as well. So I want to make sure I'm getting a return on all of my investments in the game. Maybe I'll buy a couple and I can then start fishing for different various species as I go around. Now when I sold those lobsters, the shrimp rather, back here, I only moved 2 up on the track. Maybe that wasn't good enough for me. There are 2 other things you can do to improve your boat. You can hire crew or you can get boat upgrades. In this case, I'm going to hire a first mate. It's a shrimp first mate, meaning that every time I sell shrimp, I now move further up on the track. On these tracks, there are bonus spaces you can get to. First person to get there is going to take those off and get those one-time bonuses. And also passing these stars are going to score you points or earn you money at the end of the game. So this first mate is going to help me move up there every time I sell shrimp. And also, I said you pay money to move further around the track. The first mate, any first mate, is going to make that cheaper. I also said you can only play 2 cards, 1 card rather, when you're fishing. When you get a deckhand there, they're going to allow you to play 2 cards at once when you're fishing for a particular species. Now, they don't stack up on top of each other, it's a maximum of 2. But in that case, if I did go fishing out for those crabs, I could play 2 catching fish cards, and that would then allow me to catch those crabs. Now, the last type of improvement I can get in terms of crew are engineers. Now, maybe there are different types of engineers, but maybe I'll hire this engineer. And that one gives me money every time I do a fuel action. As I said, I can come up here, you can refill completely up with fuel, and that will earn me money every time I'm doing that. And sure, that's good, but maybe I want to earn more money. So maybe I'll put a boat upgrade in, and this one happens to be a toolbox, which will now earn me 2 money. But all the other engineers will become more efficient for having this toolbox. So now that I'm earning money for fuel actions, maybe I'll build myself a pipeline, and rather than having to refuel back here in port, I can do it on the fly when I'm out by taking a bonus action, which I'll come to. There are other things I can do. Now that I'm good at getting fuel and gets me money, maybe I will get a larger fuel tank, meaning that I can go further afield. Now, all of these things are costing me money, however. It's about balancing the amount of money you spend on your boat to make it more efficient, as opposed to how much money you're going to make out of that boat in the end. And now I've got this super duper boat, maybe I'll increase the size of my hold by a couple. And when I go out fishing, I won't have to come back quite so quickly. I'll be able to come back with a huge catch and make lots of money at once. Now, I said there are bonus actions there. As well as going around the rondel and doing things, there are bonus actions available to each player. In the first 4 rounds, you have 1 bonus action marker. And once per round, you can use that. You can use it on your boat to add a license for more money than it usually costs, or to swap cards around. When you're in port, you can come down here and earn money. You can upgrade or hire crew for 1 more. You can do a sail action without stopping on the rondel, or you can buy fuel if you don't want to stop up there. You can also add bonus actions. For example, this one here, I said you can refuel on the fly as you go around there. You've got a pipeline, or even down here, you can build a galley, and that will allow you to cook up your catch, which will make it worth more money when you go to sell it. Now, I've shown you some of the upgrades you can do and the crew you can have. There are more of these, and it's all about how you combo together whichever upgrades you are after. Once we go into rounds 5 to 8, you get a second bonus marker which you can use each round. And some of these bonus actions will give you these B tokens, and they have various uses. They make your fishing cards go wild, for example. You can catch any catch with them. When you're selling, you can move up an extra space on the track each time you do it with one of these. Or you can draw extra cards and swap around your hand and try and get the cards you want using them. In terms of the rounds themselves, there is an event card for each round, and we go through the decks. There are A cards and B cards, 4 of each. And there might be good things, like when there's good weather, it costs less fuel to move around the place. There might be bad things, like there might be maintenance, which you have to pay for all the upgrades that you've put on your boat. Maybe crew will be cheaper to hire, or maybe you'll have to pay to renew your fishing licenses, again costing you money, which is victory points at the end of the game. Once we do move this all the way around, and it's the end of the round, like I say, you get your bonus action markers back to you. Also, we're going to look at what's been depleted here on the fishing grounds, and we get more catch coming out, which is going to be good, otherwise it'll be a very tight game. When you fish, I said you put down these depletion markers. When you have an area that's only got one of these repopulation markers in, you draw one of these cards, and you move these markers on these 2 rondels. In this case, they both move twice, and that's going to tell you that you're going to get shrimp come in. There's going to be 3 of them as per the card, and it's going to be in that direction from wherever we are. So we're going to bring more catch in play, and also through that way, different species can mix with each other. You can get different variety in fishing. If you've ever got just one by itself, that turns over. That's going to repopulate next turn as long as no one catches that. And then for the other ones, you remove one of these depletion markers. And even though there's a repopulation marker there, because there's depletion, it will not get extra catch in there. We move on. We play for the 8 rounds, going through the different events. And after all 8 rounds are over, if there are any boats which are still out to sea, they get an automatic move back, paying to be towed if they have to. They can sell their catch for money, but they won't move on the tracks. And the final end game scoring happens. If ever you run out of money in the game, you can take a loan for 5, but you'll have to pay back that 8 at the end. We're also going to check these sail tracks to make sure you've gone to all 3 ports evenly. If you're in the light area, in any of them, you're going to lose $5 for each. As I said, as you move past these stars, you get some bonus scoring. And only one person can occupy the end spaces, and they're going to get $3 extra for each of those that they have managed to do. In the end, you count up all your money, and whoever has got the most is going to be the winner of Captains of the Gulf. This has been a Game Pit Pit Stop. For more videos like this, check out our YouTube channel. For more in-depth coverage of games, please check out the Game Pit podcast. Thank you.